The 2020 iMac is a beast of an all-in-one computer, and maybe even the last Intel Mac from Apple. It comes with everything you need to get started, but I have a few recommendations to make it even better, and one bonus accessory. So let me show you. Hey, I'm Jerry, and this is the last of this iMac design, which has been around since 2012, but that doesn't mean you shouldn't consider it. It's big, it's powerful, and it has an amazing display, and it will probably be better for current apps over the next 2 or 3 years compared to the upcoming Apple Silicon Macs. But the first thing that you should really add to this thing is more RAM. The 27-inch iMacs still come with a paltry 8GB of RAM standard, and that's really not enough for even general basic computing these days. You really need more. The iMac and the Mac Pro are the only two Apple devices with user-accessible RAM. And I think that Apple is aware that most people who want to upgrade the memory in these 27-inch iMacs are most likely going to be ordering third-party RAM. And to keep the cost down on the iMac-based prices, they kept it with 8GB. Installing memory in these 27-inch iMacs is pretty much dummy-proof. You just open up the back, stick in the slots. But if you want to see more on the how and why to install memory in these guys, I'll put a link up here for you. The memory that I decided to go with is this OWC 32GB kit for 2019 and 2020 iMacs. This 32GB kit costs under $135, whereas if you upgrade the memory on these iMacs from Apple, to get 32GB is going to cost you an extra $600. For this $135, I also get to keep the original 8GB of memory, giving me a total of 40GB, which, as I've shown in the previous video, increases performance across the board. The next thing that you may want to add to your new iMac is extra storage. It's nice that all the iMacs come with fast NVMe storage by default now, but it may not be enough. They start at 256GB, and you can get all the way up to 8TB on the high end for an additional $2,400. So instead, I'm using this Samsung QVO 860 drive. So this is just a regular SATA SSD. It's not super fast, it's made for high storage and not necessarily speed, but it still gets over 500 megabytes per second read and write, which is plenty fast. Do you really need 2,400 megabytes read and write on everything you do, on files that are just sitting there? No, probably not. Adding some high capacity storage that is relatively fast, and it will do just about everything you want it to do and store the things you want it to store, is a no-brainer. Now, I can't just connect this SSD to this iMac without some kind of enclosure. So what I have here is this Cable Matters enclosure. This enclosure has USBC 3.1 Gen 2, which means it can get up to 10 gigabytes per second, or gigabits per second, of speed, meaning that I'm not gonna have any bottleneck between this enclosure and this SSD that I'm using in it. You can use just about any SSD in here, any 2.5-inch SSD, and get the max speed of SATA 3. So you don't need to worry about spending a bunch of money on an SSD and not getting the speed that you need. And the best part about this is that this 4TB drive and this enclosure cost less than $500 together. Theoretically, if I wanted to have two of these and match the 8TB that Apple would charge me $2,400 for, I'd be paying well under $1,000. So now you got your extra storage and you have to connect it to the iMac, and you either put it down here or maybe you put it on the stand, but that doesn't look very good. I wanna hide this thing. That's where this 12 South backpack for iMac comes in handy. This little guy is a shelf that connects to the stand on the back side of the iMac, and it can hold a full-size desktop external hard drive or an SSD or multiple 2.5-inch enclosure SSDs, whatever you want. It's a really slick way to just be able to hide a hard drive behind the Mac so you don't have to see it and it's not taking up desk space, or anything else really. If you want to put something else back there, I don't know what that would be, but whatever. 12 South actually includes a number of different size clips depending on the size of iMac you have, whether it's 27-inch or 21-inch iMac, or even previous generations and previous generation Apple displays. So these clips can just simply be swapped out to the correct size so you can use it to store a hard drive or whatever else behind whatever Apple display that you have, except for the newest Pro Display XDR. These rubber posts here on the front are optional. You can place them wherever you want inside the holes, and they just kind of screw on with these finger screws, and that will keep the hard drives basically in place and not allow them to slide off or be knocked off somehow. After you select the right size clips, you can attach this to the back of the iMac by aligning it with the stand, pushing down a little bit to make sure it's tight, and then tightening up the finger screws on the back. Now, it's nice that you have an external hard drive connected and you have a shelf in the back and everything's hidden, but What if you actually need to access those ports for something else? The ports on the back of the iMac have always been kind of a pain in the butt to reach. Sure, once you have an external hard drive connected and it's sitting on a 12 South backpack stand, then you don't really need to worry about it. But what about SD cards, or what about USB drives, thumb drives that you need to attach just for a few minutes and then remove them again? That's where this Satechi hub comes in handy. This guy is fantastic. It sits on the bottom of the iMac, it mounts to the vents on the bottom using this little thumb wheel, and gives you full access to SD card, micro SD card, 3 USB-A ports and a USB-C port, and it all connects via USB-C. This thing is mostly made out of aluminum and matches the iMac really well. The rubber pads on here expand when you turn this wheel to basically hold itself in place as it sits up against the bottom of the iMac. It is so much more incredibly convenient to try and connect something to this than fumble around and try and use your fingers as a guide to plug something in the back, or you have to turn the iMac around and then your desk space is just all messed up and ugh. So it's really nice that this is using USB-C, but it's not using Thunderbolt or USB-C 3.1. So you're not going to be getting the fastest speeds you can possibly get out of this USB-C port or even these USB-A ports. By my basic testing, I'm getting about 80% of the speed going through this than I do by plugging something directly into the back of the iMac, but the convenience of this thing makes it so much worth it. And for what I'm doing by plugging something in here, it's not super intensive. It's usually just transferring files from one device to another really quick, not even that large, and takes a little bit of time and I'm done. Spending another 2 minutes or 30 seconds transferring a file connecting to this instead of worrying about how to get something connected to the back of the iMac is worth it to me. All right, so I may have mentioned something about a bonus accessory. What we have here is another Satechi product. It is a Satechi wireless charging dock for AirPods. It perfectly matches the aluminum style of an iMac or a MacBook Pro, and it just connects via USB-C, and it's just to charge AirPods. And sorry, this is the stupidest thing I've ever bought. I bought this thing before I had an iMac or before I had a MacBook of any kind. All I had was my iPad Pro, and the iPad Pro sitting in the Magic Keyboard, the USB port is on the side. So if I were to plug this into the iPad Pro and put my AirPods on it, they just fall off. And the same thing with the back of the iMac. The USB-C ports on the back of the iMac are vertical as well, so there's no way to actually use this. The only device that this could possibly work with is going to be a MacBook or a laptop that has horizontal USB-C ports. Unless you also have this Satechi hub for iMac that has the horizontal USB-C port. But seriously, this is the dumbest thing I've ever bought. Don't buy it. It's $30. You can just use a lightning cable connected to the front of this or the back of the iMac if you have to, or you can just use any wireless charger that you already have for your phone. If you don't have one and you're considering something like this, I would just buy the wireless charger for your phone. That way you can use it for your phone or your AirPods. So these are all the accessories that I'm using with my new 2020 iMac. The iMac is an awesome all-in-one desktop, and it comes with everything you need just to get started. My recommendation is to look at upgrading the RAM and look at this Satechi hub. If you need a little help on choosing RAM or looking for a how-to on installing it, you should check out this video over here. Let me know what accessories you use below the like and subscribe buttons, and I'll see you next time.